same way. I'm not going to condone taking supplements or anything like that, but there is some ones out there that are safe for competition. They're not banned. They've been tested by third parties and such. So what I do is I take those specifically to make sure I have the proper nutrients and things like that. Especially if you're going to start working out or things like that, a good multivitamin will help. Make sure you don't tire out quicker than you need to. So I just try to kind of have a regimen. Every day I take the same thing I do when I'm competing or practicing or traveling or whatnot. So, and then like I said, just bring tons of beef jerky, tons of protein, lots of just snacks.
Next question. Yes, sir.
I was wondering, do you set off your trigger release the same way you set off the back tension? You set it off the same way?
Trigger release. Do you set trigger release off the same as the back tension?
I do. I use the same kind of pressure against the bow to make a trigger release work. And the way I use a trigger is I hook my finger over the trigger rather than using the tip of my finger. The tip of your finger is really smart, and it kind of has a mind of its own. It's the first thing that you learn as a baby. It's the first developmental milestone on how to connect this finger to your eyeball and how to grasp. So it's very hard to control independently of what your eye sees. However, if you set the trigger much deeper in your finger and wrap that over the trigger, then you can pull against the bow to develop a little pressure and then let your wrist relax so that gives a tiny bit of pressure exchange between the wrist strap and your finger. So I can demonstrate that here. Let me stand up and go over to this guy here. So grab around my wrist like this, like you're a wrist strap. And I'm pulling against you like this. Now feel this. You feel that? Okay. So that tiny little bit of pressure exchange puts the pressure from here to the index trigger. So essentially when I relax my wrist and let the bones separate, the hand gets a little more narrow. The strap gives a slight amount, the release shoots. So that way I'm not going almost there. Get ready. Yeah.
Next question. Yes, Tom.
Well, I haven't forgot everything Rio taught me, but one of the things that I like is the draw length adjustments, little minor adjustments that you make all the time. Give us some thought processes on why you do that every now and then. So maybe your muscles are a little tight or whatever.
Very good question, because somebody on the panel told me he changed his draw length 1 inch in the last month.
I change mine all the time. I do because I want to make it, like I said, the biggest thing I work on is aiming. And to me, your draw length is told a lot by how it aims. If you're too short, it gets you a herky-jerky. Your dot or your pin will jump around. And if you're too long, it'll float uncontrollably. I mean, you'll just make big loops and it will float. And I'm a creature if I like to try things. If it ain't perfect, I'm going to keep playing until I find what's perfect. And I won Vegas twice with a 3.0 Hoyt cam. So I thought, whatever, I won 9s. Going to Lancaster, shooting big arrows, kind of like what I did at Vegas. So I shot 3.0s there, let's try them. I've been running a 2.0, which was a 27. Put the 3.0s on there at 28. Got to Lancaster. And it shot good. I mean, I had some times, but it floated a little more than I like, so put it back to 2.0s on, and I'm here with them. So to me, it's a lot of testing and seeing what works and playing. And that's just in my idea. Talking a long time ago about how draw length can be such a big part of how your bow aims. A lot of people don't understand that you got to be able to relax and still have that dot just sit there and not jump around or just float so you can't stop it. And to me, I carry an hour, so you can ask these guys all the time when we get a World Cup, I'll stick an hour or 9 hours with an Axcel in the cam and adjust the drawing, a couple twists here, a couple twists there. And so to me, I think drawing can be really, really important in helping you, even in my mind, helps you execute the shot. So.
Yeah, what he said. So the basic formula is if the side is very tight and busy, your draw length needs to be a little longer. If it's loose, you need to shorten it up. There's one other little thing that I pay attention to, and it's actually a little secret that I learned from his dad a million years ago. is that when you're shooting FITA at the inner 10, you can set your bow up to be a little bit tighter at full draw, and you can hold on that inner X a little bit better and kind of raise the likelihood that you're going to get that inner X. And then for Vegas here, it's the big 10 that matters. So you can let your draw length out a little bit and kind of soften the hold and let that be a tiny bit more forgiving, so you're catching more 10s, but your X count may not be as high. But with a short draw length, mistakes tend to be farther out of the center than with a longer draw length. So that's just another little secret that you can use depending on what game that you play.
Very good. Yes, sir.
How do you manage your expectations if you meet them and if you don't?
If you meet a goal, how do you manage your expectations? Jake?
If I meet a goal, I don't know. I think if I ever feel like I've achieved something or achieved my goal, then I should quit. I should be done. I should retire. So I always am pushing myself. I mean, my goal was to make the Olympic team, and then it was, okay, let's go try to win a medal. And I achieved both, but I'm not retiring because I want to continue to go more. I'm trying to push the envelope. You know, I want to shoot 300s in Vegas. You know, I want to do that, and then eventually I want to shoot 900s in Vegas. So it's a never-ending cycle. It's just a constant evaluation. If I reach it, well, by the time I've already reached it, I've already have another goal further in the distant future. You know, so it's constantly evolving. But yes.
Yeah, one thing, you know, kind of like what you said with goals is like, if you're not reaching them, you can, you know, it may be that you can reach that goal, but like have a different mindset about it. You know, like a lot of shooters I see have a score-based goal. Well, I want to go to Vegas to shoot a 300, and they only worry about trying to shoot that 300. Change arrows, change equipment, change a bunch of different things to try to shoot that 300. Well, what happens if you focused on trying to shoot 30 perfect shots? When 30 perfect shots in Vegas equate to a 300, you know, or should. So, like, if you want to shoot a 300, well, I'm going to try to work on form and technique and try to shoot 30 perfect shots and give you the best chance to reach the score that you would like to shoot. And I think just thinking about your goals and how you set them up can really help you achieve them a lot faster. You know, and for me it's always technique based, and if my technique is right, then my scores will follow. And so I kind of think about it as a score is what I would like to do, but I need to do this to get there.
I think the guy in the hat really has it.
So there's one more little layer in there. You were talking about goal setting and managing expectation. Everyone in here knows or should know what their score average is on this target for this game. And if you do, and if you track that, now I'm not talking about walking in here with your personal best in your head. I'm talking about what your real practice average is. And typically, you already know what's going to happen when you come in here and shoot your bow. And that will help you manage your expectation of what's going to happen, because if you average 297 over the entire course of the several months that you've spent preparing for this event, you intend to shoot 3 297s when you walk in here. If you have a great day and you shoot a 298 or a 299, you have an awesome day. If you shoot a 297, mission accomplished, you shot your average in this tournament. But I see too many people walk in the door who are 297 shooters, and that's their average at the moment, and they come in all ramped up to shoot a 300 on the first day, and they miss their first arrow. So being realistic about what your average is at the moment will help you kind of manage what you expect when you step on the line and start shooting your bow.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, okay, so on a 3-spot face, right, I've always noticed that I tend to have 2 targets that are pounded out and then one that tends to stray a little bit. Now, is that an alignment issue, or is that a mental thing, or do you notice a difference in your...
Which one of the targets is it, your first, second, or third?
Third. And I shoot...
Running out of gas.
Is that what it is?
Okay, the question is, on a 3-spot target, he had 2 spots that were always in the middle, and the third one that always wandered. he said it was on his third shot where he got the wandering. So let these address that.
A lot of times my targets will start like that at the beginning of the year, and you can just watch them. I mean, in fact, actually, the first one will start tight, the second one opens up a little more, third one will be more. As the year goes on and I start to practice more and more, they all just slowly start to tighten up more and more. And I have had guys that I've worked with and stuff that they just rush through and end up on that third one. They're not putting the effort into it that they need to. And sometimes after 2 arrows, you just kind of set it down, and restart, and just start again. Also, I have guys that I've told them, let's shoot that target first. If it's a mental block, you can try that. There's a lot of things that can cause it, but usually if it's the third one, it's your third arrow, it's usually the stamina where you're running out of gas on.
If there's a pattern, you know, what he said definitely applies, but also if you can have minor grip changes as you go to the different targets. So a lot of times, I encourage my guys that I'm teaching to save their targets, bring me their targets, send me photos of their targets so I can see what each bullseye is doing. So as they go to the number 1, the number 2, and then the number 3, sometimes they're redirecting their grip pressure as they go to different targets. So number 1 will be a little left, number 2 will be a little high, number 3 will be a little to the right. So keep a close track on that, but you're setting yourself up here rather than making grip changes as you raise the bow up to the target, because the target will direct where the pressure on your grip goes rather than you directing where it goes in relation to the bow, then picking it up and putting it on the target.